Now, at a risk of boring you silly, I'm actually going to mention that $10 billion that we waste in our houses every year with food that we throw out. And as you know, this whole show is dedicated to making sure that you don't waste things. And what I've got here today that I tend to waste quite a bit of is buttermilk, because I love ranch dressing. I don't know whether you've made ranch, which makes, you know, wonderful salads. I'll make it actually for you on the show. It really is nice. Anyway, I've always got some buttermilk left over, and I remember this lovely bread. And now I know that I said that it only takes 10 minutes, which is a bit of a fib. It only takes 10 minutes actual work. It then has to go into the oven for 35, but it only takes 10 minutes full stop from start to finish. Tops. Really is a simple bread. First of all, we've got 350 grams of stone ground flour. So you have to go to a health food shop for that. So we just put that into a sieve. I think, you know, supermarkets are getting pretty good with their health food areas these days, so maybe not. And to that we add a good teaspoon of bicarb and a good teaspoon of sea salt, and we just sieve that. This is mostly what takes the 10 minutes actually, to be honest. You get one of those sort of slightly mechanical ones, makes life a lot easier. But it is important to sieve it, apart from the fact it takes any little lumps out, but it also aerates it, which is also important. And I'll just grab a wooden spoon, and what we then do, make a well in the centre, and what we've got is buttermilk here, and all we then do is mix that in like that. Now, the other thing about this bread is you do not muck around with it too much. Just get it mixed together. Don't beat the heck out of it. The less handling, the better. And it should be not sloppy, but it should be fairly moist. If you find it's not, you add a little bit more buttermilk, and then we'll just put a little bit of flour on the board. And I cannot reiterate enough that you do not want to muck around with it too much. So a little bit of flour there, and then we just make a ball out of it. Once again, if you find it's a bit too dry, I think that's a little dry, so I'm going to add a little bit more buttermilk. Not too much. So what I'm trying to do is form a rough ball, taking up all that flour without getting too excited. Now this is basically an Irish soda bread, and I suppose it's really where damper came from, isn't it? Still needs a bit more buttermilk. But as I said, you don't want it sloppy, but you certainly don't want it super dry, because otherwise it won't rise. And the only rising agent is that bicarb. Now we're looking good. It's looking better. Now, just a little bit of oil spray on our tray. Not too much. Just form that into that rough ball and turn it up the other way and put it in the centre. Just like that. We cut a fairly deep cut in this. Now, Irish proverb has this, that this is to let the fairies out. I don't think it's quite that, but anyway, if you want to let the fairies out. I think the main reason is because it cooks very quickly, because it's only in there for 35 minutes, is if you don't make that cut in it, it'll rise and the crust will get fairly hard fairly quickly, and you'll end up with a big hole in the centre. So I think that's the reason, even though I think it's a lot nicer to talk about the fairies. All right, 35 minutes, turn it over, tap it on the bottom if it sounds hollow, it's ready, serve it warm with some really good butter.